everybody. Welcome back to the one and only show of its kind, Midnight Therapy. I'm your host, Kat Matthews. Sorry for the delay. I know it's been a bit. I've been very busy lately. Ubaldo is over. I gave you guys the history of Ubaldo last time. It is over. It's been a hectic 2 weeks or so. Our home here has been sort of like a hotel. Had a lot of guests, and I like that personally. When there's a lot of people, like when you wake up after a night of beverages and you're taking a shower, and there's just a random person, you know, in your house. That's nice. It's fun. Keeps things interesting. But that was the whole past 2 weeks, so I haven't had a lot of time to get you another episode. But this is number 7. We're coming at you with number 7. Happy we made it this far. We're gonna hit 10 soon. That's a lot. That's a lot. It's getting kind of hot here in Northeast PA, so wearing this, you know, this jacket is getting a little sweaty down here. So if I am sweating, bear with me. I'm sort of like a sweater. It runs in the family. Like my uncle, I think my dad has it. My uncle doesn't have it, but like anytime we eat, like we're at a restaurant, we get like some sausage. We're like dripping with sweat. It's terrible. People think, they're like, "Are you okay?" We're like, "Yeah, we're fine." It becomes concerning, but no, it's fine. So if you see me sweating, it's fine. We're okay. But yeah, episode 7, we're back. We're gonna do just a recap. We're gonna have to start getting into some crazy stuff here. The world is just getting a little too crazy to not talk about. I don't want to dive into all this politics and tragedy and all this stuff, but we're gonna have to. But this will be just a recap. This is number 7. Um, Swapped out, I think, the Nutcracker. I don't know if I said that last time, but you're paying attention. But we got Dracula here, um, the vampire from the Grotesque Holiday Portrait series. I hope you enjoy looking at it in the background there. But yeah, getting back to Ubaldo, we're just going to reflect on these past 2 weeks because, like I said, they've been very hectic. Ubaldo, I was telling you about all this Italian tradition and how it's, there's a lot of people that are traditionalists and they care a lot about preserving that, which I admire and honor. But then I was saying there's like this worry that the American side of things would kind of corrupt and maybe pollute the tradition, And it's worth mentioning that we were all a little worried this year because there was a rumor going around that somebody was going to attend this Ubaldo, a crazy guest that no one would have believed. I believed that I was the gullible one. We had good reason to believe it, the few of us that knew. And I thought it was like the greatest secret ever that I was keeping. It ended up not happening at all. But the suspense was so real. See, I'd rather be an optimist and be a fool, like, and be wrong, than be a pessimist to be correct. That's just me. But I'm just going to cut to the chase because it didn't happen anyways. But there was rumors that Ric Flair would be at this Ubaldo, that somebody had hired Ric Flair to come. And if you're starting to get to know me a little, you can understand why I thought that would be crazy and almost, unbelievable. Like it would be one of the best things ever. I also could have been the worst thing ever for the visiting Italian people from Gubbio. Imagine they're worried about this tradition becoming like too American or trashy, and then they see an 80-year-old Ric Flair like bulging out of a Speedo with a robe on, going woo! Like, can you imagine? That would be a little nuts. But I thought, from another perspective, it would have been pretty cool. He's kind of like in that archetype of like Kid Rock. Um, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like he's like that American icon that's kind of, I don't know, NASCAR-ish. Yeah, no offense, but it's more of like the, I don't know, like fair, like county fair vibe. I don't know, but it would be cool nonetheless. But it didn't happen. I was quite upset. I was waiting all day. Everyone's like, "Yo, where's Ric Flair?" I was like, "I don't know. I didn't start this rumor. I'm just a messenger. Maybe it was a psyop. I'm starting to think now they were like testing me to see if I would spread it, and I accidentally did, and it never happened. So I'm sorry, but I called it the Ric Flair farce. It never happened, but that was a little disappointing. This area does sort of love stuff like that. It's worth mentioning with the Count here, the vampire, the Count from a show called Count's Customs. If you've ever watched, it was a car and motorcycle restoration show on History Channel, and the main character was a vampire. He was called the Count, like from Sesame Street. Not the same person. But he would fix cars up, and he was like a vampire. Look it up. It was a real show. It was a good show. He came to like a local car show, and it was crazy. Like there was like 30,000 people there to see the Count at the Speakeasy Saloon car show last year, and I did meet him, and I gave him a print of that. Nothing came from it. I'm still very poor, but nonetheless, it was cool to meet the Count from Count's Customs. But we do love stuff like that. Like that's the archetype we like. Like this past weekend, there was midget wrestling. That's what it's called. Sorry if I offended anybody, but they called it midget wrestling, and it was sold out. And it was at this hotel bar, the Days Inn. The Days Inn Hotel in Dixon City has a bar connected to it in the lobby called the Moon Tavern, and there's mannequins everywhere and aliens and TVs with weird imagery popping up on the TVs. I swear, check it out if you haven't. But they hosted midget wrestling. It was a huge success. I heard there were midget lap dances. I don't know if that's true. I've never had the privilege of going to a midget wrestling yet. I will to see what it's about for research. But that's what this area likes. That I mean, I think a lot of areas like that stuff, but this area, it kind of, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's like a little more. I think they like it a little more. So the idea of Ric Flair coming would have been revolutionary, but it did not happen. Um, Other than that, it was a good weekend. It was a good week, 2 weeks of good festivities. Saw a lot of cool things. Hung out with a lot of great people. Can't complain. I watched somebody get a straight razor shave on their neck with a samurai sword, which was really cool. Just wanted to throw that so you get like a context. I golfed. Now I'm not a golfer. I'm gonna talk a little bit about golf here. I have a love hate relationship with golf because I do find it a little fun, and it's kind of like you get worried when you find it fun if you're like me because it reminds you like that you're getting like old. You start to find golf fun. I associate golf with older people, older men. I don't think you can like golf if you're young, and if you do, I don't know. I don't know. There's other stuff to do. There is other stuff to do than golf. Golf's very aggravating. It's rough. It's a rough game. And then golf is one of those things that changes you as a person. Now, hear me out. I don't want to be stereotypical, but some stereotypes are real. Let's just acknowledge that. Um, but when you golf, you kind of adapt to the golf lifestyle. Now, let me explain. Some people they get into things and they get hyper obsessed. You know how like if you're from Germany and you move to America, you are now American. But like if you were American, you move to Germany, you're not German. It's more like an ideology. America's like an ideology. Unless you're Native American, of course. But besides the point, a golf, you like become a golf person. And that archetype of person is very similar to boat people, like that have yachts and car show people, like people that go to car shows, like old men that go to car shows, not old, but older. Like they have a Corvette. They have a Corvette Stingray. They wear polos that are like pastel Easter colors, high white knee socks. You know what I'm saying? Nice watch. They enjoy Yingling Flight. They enjoy Yingling Flight. You know who I'm saying, but you become that. Cigars. They love cigars. I am open to debate. I don't think anyone likes cigars. I think it's just something people do for status. I've tried them. They don't taste the best. Maybe I haven't had the best. Like I said, very poor. I'm not pretending to be a cigar connoisseur, but from what I had, kind of not the best. I don't know, but it becomes a staple if you're a golf person. So I'm not that, obviously. Look, obviously, I'm not that. But my dad golfs, and he's kind of that. He has a Corvette. He loves golf. He does it often. I try to do it because I like golfing with him because that's fun. I'm not nearly as good as him, but I do drive the ball very far with my Amazon Gold driver that I paid $100 for from China. That's about it. The irons are from a yard sale, and the putter was from Kmart, I think, when that was still a thing. When the big Kmart was still open and they sold putters, Amazon spikes, the shoes, I got them on Amazon, and the wardrobe comes from uh, annoying, loud Hawaiian shirts that I own. So that's how I golf. Very John Daly. Like I wish I was as good as John Daly, but I feel like if my dad is like Tiger Woods, I'm John Daly in the picture. Look wise, not talent wise. So I golfed this weekend, or this past weekend, or whatever past weekend. It's all a blur. But that was interesting. Golf has like this like pompous thing to it where everyone's very like uppity, like they kind of judge you if you suck. So I don't like that. I don't need that in my life. I like driving the cart. I like having a couple beverages. I like captain and crew tournaments are great because I could contribute a little. You know, like I'll be like, remember that drive on hole 5? Even though I miss every putt after that, it's still okay because it's a team. I like a team sport. When golf is a team sport, it's nice. But my dad really loves it. He's a little obsessed with it. He kind of makes everything about golf always, and it gets a little annoying. Like if you missed your flight in an airplane, he'd be like, "Look, like we all mess up sometimes." Like I remember this little short putt on hole 8 up at Sleepy Hollow. I missed it, So I understand what you're going through right now. And you're like, what? What are you talking about? And he's like, yeah, I mean, everything's like golf. Like golf's a lot like life. And you're just like, get out of here. So he gets a little annoying, but we still love him. But yeah. And then lastly, the couple notable things, like I said, there was a carnival that goes with Ubaldo, and I talked about it. I talked about the fish thing, like me and my friends would pay the carnies to eat the fish. Like, and I'm talking a goldfish. So this goes back really far. Like we used to have fun at this carnival, and this is like not the Ubaldo thing. This is like the separate part of it. There's also a carnival. So I went to the carnival again at the ripe age of 25, going to be 26. Very different than when I was like 10 to 17. I wasn't, of course, doing those shenanigans anymore. I remember we would like save up all our money to play those games, and we'd be talking to the carnies, and we like watched a carny pick an Xbox box out of the garbage, like an empty Xbox, and like filled it with a couple of rocks. He'd put it out as a prize because you knew you were never winning it, but it looked good to see that like Xbox. But he was like, score! Like he had the cigarette. He's like, whoa, look, somebody threw out an Xbox One box. And like that's kind of what it was when I went. It was very like seedy. I remember we started. I'm also like an entrepreneur, a really bad one, but I consider myself one. And I remember I was getting when fidget spinners were really hot. I don't know if I was like end of high school or early college. I was like buying them from China, and I was like selling them like crazy, and they were going hot, like they were hot. So I was going around to the carnies. And I was like, why don't you pay me like $10 a spinner? and you could give them out as prizes because they were so hot and they didn't have any, and they were doing that. So I was like making money off the carnies at one point. It was really fun. The one goldfish I remember we threw in the puddle. Threw it in the puddle. We put mustard on it. It was disgusting. He ate it for like $3. So I mean, you go from that to then this. Like I went there with my girlfriend. We went. There was fireworks, and we walked around. It was just like it was so weird to sit back and be like, "Wow, a lot has changed." This weekend was very reflecting. I was reflecting on things in the past and thinking about my friends and my family and when I was a young kid. So it was a little sentimental. It was nice to think that I made it to this point of adulthood where I could sit here and talk to you guys in a cowboy outfit. That's pretty big. Not everybody makes it to this point. But the biggest thing I learned and how I learned it was that people, it's a good lesson. So listen, sometimes I have some wisdom here. This is midnight therapy after all. That things don't really need to be real anymore, or maybe they never did. But I think we as people are willing to settle for like artificial or fake things. It doesn't have to be genuine, you know? Like it doesn't have to be a Rolex. Just like I could tell you that. Doesn't have to be Fruit Loops. It could be Fruit Rounds, Aldi. Still waiting for that endorsement, but it could be Fruit Rounds and they're just as good. A lot of people are willing to settle artificial intelligence, as we talked about to nauseum. We'll talk about it a lot more though, but people don't really care. You know, if AI makes the poster for your band that's playing, and you don't have to pay the graphic designer, does it really matter if it looks just as good? If it looks just as good, no, it doesn't. Maybe morally or ethically, but not really. Uh, I could make a burger on the grill, but McDonald's, that's not really made on the grill. I don't even know if that's meat, but it's still good. And you're not going to say it's not good. You're not going to say it's not good. You can't make anything close to a Big Mac on your grill, even with a Blackstone. So don't even tell me that you're going to air fry better French fries than McDonald's. They like get that potato. They like own that potato. They own the rights to that one long potato. They want it to look like, I watched the whole thing. They want it to look like a bouquet coming out, like the long. They want the long fries. You're never going to do that, and that's okay. And it's not real. It's probably not real or good for you or genuine. But who cares? That's what I'm saying. I don't think anyone cares anymore about what's real. And how I learned this lesson was tribute bands. The theme of this past 2 week span was tribute bands. I'm going to tell you, uh, the beer tent over at the carnival that was going on the same time as Ubaldo, if that's not clear, I know it's a little confusing, had a tribute band. Uh, they have bands every night of the week, but on Sunday they always have the ACDC tribute band. And man, is that what a turnout! Everybody is there with ACDC shirts. These bikers come. It gets rowdy. Everyone is screaming the songs. They got two singers. They got both singers. Hopefully, my brain's working with it. Is Bon Scott and Brian Johnson. They have both, so they do all ACDC's catalog. It's pretty great, and everybody gets so freaking pumped. And sometimes you hear people that are like, "You're going to see ACDC," and someone will be like, "Well, it's not really ACDC," and people go, "What?" They almost don't realize it's not the real ACDC. I don't. When I'm looking, like if I'm drinking a little and I squint, I don't know. Looks the same to me. The older people that they grew up with those bands, the 70s and 80s, their eyesight is usually not the best. It looks just like the same. It sounds the same, looks the same. What's the difference? Who cares? It's like a philosophical argument. If it happens in your dream or if it happens on a drug induced hallucinogenic trip, is that not a real memory? It kind of is a real memory. If you see ACDC in Jessup, Pennsylvania, after you had a bunch of Jello shots, and you swear it was them, I guess it was. It might as well have been. You know, it's better than looking at them on a TV screen up in the nosebleeds. at a big arena where the beers are $18 a pop. Like, come on. So, like I said, I don't think there's much of a difference anymore. I don't think people really care. I saw another tribute band too this past Thursday. I saw Guns N' Roses, a tribute to Guns N' Roses at another event. We're going to keep name dropping these places. This is called Party on the Patio. It's at Mohegan Sun Arena. No, Mohegan Sun Casino. What's the difference? It's a big casino around here. And it's the only good thing about the casino is they do this free concert every Thursday night, and it's tribute bands, and everyone gets pumped. There's a big lineup. They get all these old classic tribute bands. 75 to 85, that's usually the era. 1975, 1985. That was the best era of music. You could get away with tribute bands from that era because usually the bands from that time had like 5 to 10 like bangers, like good songs. And that was when real music was coming out and it was new and genuine. You're not going to see TikTok artists like one hit wonders doing that in 30 years. The fact that people still want to go see the likeness of AC/DC and Guns N' Roses proves that they had some type of impact on the culture. I don't think there will be a Cardi B tribute band one day, but maybe I'm wrong. There might be Nickelback. Like my generation might be the last one to go genuinely enjoy a tribute band. Like you might want to go see what they'll call it, like quarterback. I don't know. Maybe like Daughtry. You go see like a Daughtry cover band. I don't know. What do I know? But I don't think you're gonna see Cardi B. It'd be like Cardi D. I don't know. The day Cardi D plays at the Wayne County Fair, and she comes out to WAP, and we're all in our 40s or 50s. If that day happens, I'll apologize. But until then, I don't think so. I don't think so. But a lot of these TikTokers, no offense, or these one hit wonder people of today, let's say from 2000 to now, I don't think they have the catalog to be worthy of a tribute band where everybody dresses like that. Like a tribute band is different than a cover band. Let me get that straight. So in a tribute band, you dress like them, you look like them, and you only play their music and you pretend to be them, and you kind of like steal their life. Like you ride the coattails of these bands. It's kind of crazy that it's legal. Usually it's for bands that aren't playing anymore, or they're dead, or they're washed up. And like Elvis, there's so many Elvis impersonators. And that's fine because he's dead. You're not gonna go see Elvis. But like when you see a Taylor Swift uh like cover band already and she's still like touring and someone's dressing up like her and pretending to be her and singing all her songs, I think that's a little insulting. My uncle was just telling me his daughter, my cousin, is going to see a Taylor Swift lookalike. It's only $20. He goes, "What a steal! Better than paying like I don't know, 10 grand to see the real Taylor from the nosebleeds." But I told him, I said a great idea would be if he hosted, like if he said Taylor Swift tribute band. Now hear me out. Tell me if you think this is okay ethically. If my uncle, who sort of looks like me but a little shorter and bald, and he's 50 some, what if he advertised an event called Taylor Swift Tribute Band, and it was local, like it was at the Moon Tavern or something? We'll plan this at the Moon Tavern. You contact me, Moon Tavern, and we would just say Taylor Swift cover band, $5, cheap. But when you got there, there was shirts. We were selling shirts and stuff, and they were cheap too. But when you got there, it was my uncle in a wig, my uncle Dave in a wig, doing karaoke to all the Taylor Swift songs. Now, is that illegal or is that false advertising? We never said it had to look like her. Who's the judge if it looks like her or not? Who's the judge if it sounds like her? What if I lip sync? There's so many factors here. I don't think it's illegal. I don't even think it's immoral. He's trying his best. I would say he's trying his best. Can't you just be accepting? He's a huge Swiftie. You paid $5. I feel like nobody would complain. Not in 2024. I think they would think it was like they'd be a little upset. Like girls might like 13-year-old girls might cry. They might cry. Some moms might make some snark comments, but I don't think they're going to say, we want our money back or that was horrible. I don't think they're going to do that. But, anyways, I do think it's a little insulting. Keep that idea in the back burner, Moon Tavern and my Uncle Dave. I think it's a good one. Nice little cash grab for the summer, a little extra money. But I do think when they're still like alive and relevant, you maybe shouldn't be doing tribute bands of them. It'd be cool if you were doing tribute bands of like irrelevant people like me. Like if there was a Cat Matthews tribute band, that would be cool. I'd feel like it's an honor, you know. But Taylor Swift, I don't know. She's still alive. But Guns N' Roses, they're like kind of done. AC/DC's kind of done. So it's not too bad. But like I said, the people really didn't care. They loved it. They were rocking like it was just as good. It was just as good. And like I said, that era had so many good music like Journey, Guns N' Roses, Bon Jovi, Poison, all these bands. You could get away with it because the music was so good. It's just people get old. You don't want to see those guys with the long hair. You don't want to see that gray long hair and their skinny, wrinkly arms. Like you don't want to see that. It's not the 80s anymore. And the women pretend it's the 80s and they put on the leather and they try to relive the glory days of having Bon Jovi sweat on them, but it's not. You're at the casino. The casino is so depressing. The casino is so depressing. All of them, but especially the one I go to. And I have a story about the casino. I'm not going to tell it until I get the approval from my friend Mike. I probably will never tell it, but you know what I'm talking about, Mike. Something happened at the casino once, but usually, other than stuff like that and party on the patio, it's pretty boring. People throw all their money away, and they sit in a depressing room and they hit buttons on a screen. And it's like a pharaoh or something. It's like a Egyptian game or it's like a pirate game, and it's like making noises like a Chuck E. Cheese. It is the adult Chuck E. Cheese. It's Dave and Buster's without the pizza, and it's way more money and sad. Like people are on the oxygen, they take a break to go smoke, and they put the oxygen back in, and they go, "You took my seat. It was just getting hot." And that's about the most excitement you'll see. So casino's not a good place, but party on the patio and cover bands make it a little better. And isn't that special? If it could make the world a little bit better, it could make people happy again. Who cares if it's not genuine? I think cover bands are just as good. They might be just as good. Just like fruit rounds are just as good. Cheap knockoffs are just as good. And who can afford the real thing anymore, honestly? And soon this is all going to be AI anyways, and it's going to be a hologram. So just enjoy that there's humans up there pretending to be Axl Rose and Slash. Be happy they're still doing that. Because imagine that life. You wake up, you put that wig on, that top hat every day. Like, you feel like a guitar god for 10 minutes, and then you're like, what do we make? 400 each? Nice. See you guys. See you next month. Like, the gigs are few and far between. Not everybody can hire a Guns N' Roses tribute band. It's not going to come to your kid's 8th birthday party. It's not. It's only for these weird, like, cash grab events where, like, we try to get all the people there and drunk and feeling good about their past. And then maybe they'll come in and play a couple slots. Maybe they'll play some blackjack. That's why they do it. And I know that, but I still don't play anyways. I get my free concert and I leave. Sometimes I even pregame in the parking lot. Don't tell them. I don't want to buy their drinks. But yeah, it's okay to not be 100% real. 'Cause I don't think anyone is. Everything is built on the past. Everything is built on the past. You could go back all the way to the beginning of time, but everything is built on the previous generation and all that. That's how life is. That's how art works. Music, it's building blocks. If you can't make it doing your own music, but you're really into AC/DC and you look kind of like AC/DC and you know all the riffs and you got a poster of them on your wall and you're 48 years old, why not pretend to be Angus Young? Why not? Why not? And if you're a girl and you could sing and you can't make it on your own, but you look like Taylor Swift a little, I don't know, more power to you. There's a ton of Elvis impersonators, and Swift is just as big as Elvis, if not bigger. So get it while it's hot. That's what I say. And you know what? You know what? If they had a Ric Flair impersonator at Ubaldo, You think anyone would care? You think anyone would care? I took a picture with a priest that I knew during Ubaldo during the week, and I posted it on my story, and people are like, "Is that Ric Flair?" And I told a couple of them yes, and they believed it. Ric Flair is older, and he has gray hair, and it's slicked back, and I don't know. He put sunglasses. I don't. It kind of looked like him. I feel like a lot of people could pull off Ric Flair a little. Some older people that are out in the sun a lot. I don't know. A little wrinkly, big, robust. I don't know. We could have got a Ric Flair knockoff, and would it have been okay? It might have been okay. It would have been better than nothing. It would have been better than nothing. So keep that in mind. Authenticity is hard to find. Being genuine is rare. If you are, more power to you. But not everybody could be. Most of the world is fake. Most people are lying all the time about themselves, about their job, about their happiness. And this is true therapy. If you can't be honest with yourself at this time, I encourage you to get there one day. But fake it till you make it, like they say. Do what you got to do. Find someone you look like, even if you look like Danny DeVito. My uncle kind of looks like Danny DeVito. Sorry, Dave. But find someone and maybe pretend to be them. I don't know. It's worth a shot. I mean, everyone's going to tell you all this stupid shit with self help. I'm going to tell you find someone you look close to and maybe become an impersonator. You can do like office parties or something. I don't know. You got to do that yourself. You got to become the entrepreneur. You got to think creatively in this life. But all these people are doing it. The ACDC, the Taylor Swifts, Elvis. You could do it too. And they're not doing bad. They're not doing bad. They're doing better than us. They're doing better than us. They're living a lie, and it's okay. So, anyways, I'll be back with some more. We're going to do some social commentary on current events soon. But I wanted to give you a recap, and I wanted to let you know my thoughts on how hard it is to be authentic. And again, the overall goal is to always be authentic. But if you can't, and right now, maybe be the second best Danny DeVito there is. And with that being said, stay curious, my friends. Good night. Until next time. I love you.